Alright, welcome to this video. In the previous video, we discussed user inputs, and in more previous videos, we so far have covered printing things to the screen, defining variables, and taking in user inputs. And in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to use variables and perform mathematical operations on those variables. So for example, I'm going to start with one variable which I call var1, num1, var num1 equals, I'm just going to say 5. And then I'll define a second variable which I'll call num2. And that's going to be equal to, let's say, 8. Alrighty, so these are both integers because they don't have decimals. And now what I can do is I can simply log their operations. So I can say 5 plus 8, or be more, num1 plus num2. I can run the code and I get 13. I can log their division. And I get 0.625. I can do multiplication. I can get 40 by multiplying them. And of course, I can do the modulus, in which I find the remainder. So if I do num2 divided by num1, I should get an output of, I want the modulus, not division. If I do the modulus, I can go ahead and I should get an output of 3. Once again, the modulus takes the remainder. Alrighty, and of course I can take user inputs. Now, for example, if I say var num1 equals the prompt, enter the first number. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It's not the point here. Var num2 equals prompt. Enter the second number. Once again, nothing fancy. And I'm going to get my semicolons there. And then I want to say console.log num1 plus num2. If I go ahead and run it and I put 5 and 8, I get 58. Why is it saying 5 plus 8 is 58 and not 13? That's because, just like in Python, when you take in any information from the user, it gets put in as a string and not an integer. Alright, so what I need to do is I need to tell basically JavaScript to take it in. And I can do it like this. I can say num1 equals parseInt num1. And I can say num2 equals parseInt num2. And now when I run it, I get 5, and I do 8 again. I get 13, as expected. Now I can also do it like this. I can do console.log parseInt and take this in as num1 and take it in as, so I can just parse it just for this sake. Because then when I go back and do it again, (5) and 8, I get 13 and 58. So this one, when I parsed it, I didn't redefine it as an integer. I just said, for this time only, make it an integer and do the operation. I didn't redefine it. Alright, now if I were to redefine it like I did before, num1 equals parseInt num1, and then num2 equals parseInt num2. Now, when I go ahead and I run this code, once again doing 5 and 8, I get 13 both times, because now I redefined it as an integer and not a string. Here I pass it through as an integer just for the sake of adding it. Here I redefined it, and that's the difference. Alright, and so that is a introduction into mathematical operations with JavaScript.